On the vast and harsh savannas, wild dogs don't rely on size to survive. They rely on pack structure, endurance, and the ability to read their surroundings. Each recorded chase is not just an action, but a meticulously planned strategy. In nature, precise coordination can transform small individuals into a formidable force. On the vast savannas of Africa, the African wild dog is considered one of the most effective predators in nature. An adult typically weighs between 40 and 70 pounds, with long legs built for long-distance travel rather than short bursts of speed. Their bodies are lean, but each muscle group is well developed for endurance. Wild dogs can maintain speeds of nearly 35 miles per hour over long distances, often traveling many miles in an organized pursuit. Unlike larger predators that rely on explosive strength, wild dogs depend on stamina and precision. Their large, round ears enhance their ability to perceive, constantly tracking movement and sounds across the grasslands. Their true strength lies not in their size, but in their cohesion. A pack can consist of 6 to 20 individuals, each moving towards a common goal. In nature, coordination transforms moderate strength into outstanding effectiveness. On rocky outcrops and low-lying trees, baboons rely on their vigilance and climbing abilities to protect their troop. An adult can weigh between 30 and 90 pounds, always maintaining a vantage point as the group moves. Upon detecting danger, they quickly climb higher, forming a natural fortress in the trees. But this security is only truly secure when the entire troop maintains a tight formation. Wild dogs appear below, but don't approach immediately. They keep their distance and disperse to observe movement above. When a young individual strays from the protective circle and falls below ground level, the formation tightens immediately. Wild dogs act quickly and precisely, closing the gap in a very short time. The chase ends prematurely when the young individual doesn't have time to return to safety. Success doesn't come from direct force, but from choosing the right timing and maintaining a stable group structure. On the open grasslands, impalas survive thanks to their vigilant instincts and highly coordinated pack behavior. Upon detecting unusual movement, they typically maintain their formation and adjust their course instead of panicking and splitting up. This initial calmness helps the pack find a safe space within the vast open area. When wild dogs appear, they don't immediately accelerate. The formation is organized, moving parallel and maintaining a stable distance. The pressure doesn't come from a sudden dash, but from gradually narrowing the space over time. Gradually, the impala's running rhythm becomes uncoordinated. When an individual is pushed toward shallow water, their acceleration significantly decreases and their escape route is limited. the pack of wild dogs immediately tightens its grip and completely dominates the area. The chase ends when the impala's defensive structure is no longer maintained. The outcome depends not solely on maximum speed. Maintaining pace and controlling space is crucial in prolonged confrontations. Amidst the low trees and thick bushes, the leopard moves silently, always relying on its solitary hunting instincts and quick reflexes to maintain control of the area. When at a disadvantage, it can climb a tree in seconds to create a safe distance. Its agility and constant observation help it maintain the advantage when facing only one opponent. But when the pack of wild dogs detects its presence early, the pace changes dramatically. Instead of charging, they silently disperse, small groups moving around to gradually narrow the space. The encirclement closes from multiple directions, forcing the leopard to constantly turn and observe. The increasing pressure forces the leopard to shift from an offensive to a defensive stance. When the ground is no longer safe, it chooses to climb a tree to escape the pressure below. The pack of wild dogs stops below, controlling the area and maintaining a steady rhythm. The encounter ends in a temporary stalemate. Multidirectional pressure can diminish the advantage of a lone predator. In nature, pack structures often create an advantage that individual speed struggles to sustain over time. Amidst the vast dry grasslands, African buffalo stand out for their remarkably stable movement and navigation. An adult can weigh between 1,000 and over 1,500 pounds, often moving in large herds for mutual protection. They maintain a tight formation and adjust their course to the terrain. But this very structure sometimes leaves gaps at the rear. From a distance, packs of wild dogs begin to track and observe the herd's movements. They are not in a hurry. When a young buffalo falls behind, the formation immediately shifts. Individuals separate, encircling gently and gradually closing the gap. Some adult buffalo turn back to counterattack and protect the young. However, the wild dogs maintain a stable formation and apply pressure from multiple directions. This continuous coordination causes the buffalo herd to gradually retreat, leaving the young buffalo separated from the main group. The chase ended when patience and the group structure provided a clear advantage. Success didn't come from a direct attack, but from the ability to maintain pace and coordinate precisely. In nature, collective strength can change the course of events for species many times larger. In shallow riverine swamps, crocodiles rely entirely on their ambush instincts and ability to hide underwater. A mature individual can weigh from 500 to over 1,000 pounds, with a low body and strong jaws. Once in the water, it patiently observes and waits for a mistake from its opponent. The pack of wild dogs enters the muddy area with slow movements and a loose formation. Both sides observe and avoid hasty action. When the crocodile leaves the shallow water and moves on to softer land, the advantage begins to shift. On land, the crocodile's heavy body makes its movements slower. The wild dogs utilize speed and numbers to apply constant pressure from multiple directions. However, when the environment becomes unfavorable, the crocodile gradually retreats to its familiar water. The confrontation ends without a prolonged chase. Advantage in nature depends heavily on the surrounding environment. There are no absolute powerhouses, only species that understand where they belong. On the vast, open savanna, the lion displays its territorial instincts and proud, muscular strength. Its sturdy body and firm stance allow it to control the space simply by its presence. Lions don't often view wild dogs as prey. Most encounters revolve around defending boundaries. When the roar echoes, the pack of wild dogs immediately halts. They don't advance further but analyze the tracks, check the wind direction, and adjust their formation. The atmosphere is tense, but both sides maintain the necessary distance. The lion slowly advances to consolidate its territorial control. However, the wild dogs don't choose direct confrontation. After assessing the disparity in strength and position, they proactively retreat in an organized formation. No battle ensues, but the situation is clearly established. In nature, avoiding conflict at the right time is also a sign of wisdom. Strength lies not only in muscles, but also in deciding when to advance and when to retreat. From arid grasslands to muddy water's edge, each confrontation reveals a clear principle. Wild dogs don't rely on size, but on structure, rhythm, and persistence. The recorded moments not only reflect ferocity, but also serve as a lesson in organization and discipline in nature. In the wild, the lasting advantage always belongs to the species that controls space and timing. On the African savanna, seemingly familiar approaches sometimes lead to unexpected and violent reactions. Lions enter with the confidence of apex predators, believing that speed and technique will determine the outcome. But a single moment of misstep can shift the advantage. The following confrontations demonstrate what happens when an attack encounters insurmountable limits. On the edge of the tranquil river, the hippo stood still, but controlled the entire space around it. Its massive body didn't seem sluggish, but rather exuded a silent pressure. With its nearly 20-inch long teeth and a bite force of approximately 1,800 pounds per square inch, any movement too close could trigger an immediate reaction. Three male lions approached the water's edge cautiously. They carefully observed the water's surface and the muddy bank, but didn't realize they had entered a sensitive area. A mere shift was enough to cause the nearby hippo to turn, thrusting its entire body forward. The approach was swift and direct. One lion retreated first, the other two turning as the safe distance narrowed with each passing second. The hippo didn't pursue too far, stopping when the boundary was restored and the water became calm again. The confrontation ended in a few tense moments. The lion left the area, while the hippo continued to hold its position. On the savanna, the initiative shifts according to the terrain, and where there is water, the balance often tips in favor of the dominant territory. In the vast expanse of the savanna, the mother elephant stood still before her calf, her massive body, weighing over 10,000 pounds, forming a solid defensive line. The distance between them was almost zero. That stillness wasn't hesitation, but preparation for an instantaneous reaction. A pride of lions began to move in an arc, seeking to create distance between mother and calf. The air grew tense as they drew closer. The mother elephant maintained her position, head lowered, taking small, inching movements to conceal any approach. She didn't pursue, but was ready to charge if the line was crossed. The attempts at separation were unsuccessful. No gap appeared. When the distance between mother and calf remained zero, the lions were forced to stop and retreat. The confrontation ended with the balance tilting heavily in favor of the animal that maintained its bond. In nature, many successful hunts begin with separation. But when the bond is maintained absolutely, the predator's chances disappear almost right from the first step. In the vast open savanna, Wildebeest maintain close formation to minimize the risk of being separated from the herd. A mature individual with a strong physique and curved horns is always ready to switch from movement to defense when the safe distance is broken. The lioness chooses the right moment and locks her prey's neck with her familiar technique. In the first few seconds, the advantage is with the predator. But the wildebeest twists its body, kicks with its hind legs, and shakes its entire body weight to regain balance. The grip begins to falter as the posture becomes unstable. Just a few seconds of lost pressure, and an opportunity immediately arises. The wildebeest springs free from the grip and heads straight towards the herd. The lioness must stop when the grip is no longer stable enough to maintain the initial advantage. The encounter ends without either side being defeated. In nature, the line between success and failure is sometimes decided by just a few seconds of maintaining the upper hand. In the silent savanna, the rhino stands firm, its massive, thousands-pound body and thick horn always poised for action. Its imposing appearance easily misleads opponents into misjudging its reaction speed. But with just a slight impact, its entire body can turn in an instant. The lion approaches from behind and lightly bites the hind leg. This isn't a knockout, but rather a probing maneuver to gauge the opponent's reflexes and rotational speed. However, the tactical error quickly becomes apparent. The rhino is not an antelope. It responds with an explosive spin, its massive thousands-pound body delivering force toward its attacker. The safe distance vanishes in a split second. The lion retreats, realizing the increased risk outweighs the potential benefit. The encounter ends without either side being killed, but the advantage clearly favors the animal that maintained the initiative. In nature, testing a prey's reaction doesn't always yield opportunities. Some predators respond with instantaneous force, leaving no room for correction. Misjudging the prey's nature can have far-reaching consequences. Amidst the low grass of the savanna, the warthog moved slowly, its body low and heavy. That appearance gave the impression of vulnerability. But inside was a reflex system always ready, waiting for a signal of danger to activate. Two lionesses silently closed the distance, waiting for the prey to leave the cover of bushes. The air grew tense as the encirclement closed. The charge was swift, but not powerful enough to finish immediately. In that moment, the warthog chose to confront rather than dodge. It exploded forward with all its might, reaching nearly 35 miles per hour in a short distance. The sudden acceleration disrupted the pursuit. The lions had no time to adjust their direction, and a safe distance was quickly created. The hunt stopped almost instantly. No prey was brought down. In nature, the advantage sometimes lies with the quickest reactant, because the outcome is often decided in the first few seconds. On the arid land, Oryx stood apart from the sand, its long, straight horns, nearly 3 feet long, always pointing forward. When it sensed danger, it didn't flee, but immediately turned to face its opponent. This posture formed a direct defensive line, forcing the predator to stop and reconsider its approach. The young lion tried to circle around to find a weak point, but each time it shifted, Oryx turned with it, keeping its chest and horns always facing its opponent. The initial charge lacked the force to bring the prey down. In those crucial first seconds, the balance didn't tilt in favor of the attacker. When more than 10 seconds passed and Oryx remained standing, the lion's chances diminished significantly. A counterattack with a straight butt forced the lion to retreat to avoid serious risk. The confrontation ended when the predator chose to retreat rather than continue the risk. In harsh environments, not every objective is easily overcome. Calmness and the ability to hold your ground can turn the tide. Sometimes experience and timing are more decisive than sheer strength. The African buffalo is one of the most dangerous animals on the savanna. An adult can weigh between 1,900 and 2,200 pounds, with thick horns and a charge powerful enough to change the course of a fight in seconds. When it senses a threat, its reaction is not hesitant. Two lion cubs were playing with a small prey nearby and lost their vigilance. The buffalo doesn't distinguish between large and small targets. It charges straight at the nearest movement to eliminate the danger. The powerful charge sends one of the cubs flying to the side, shaking the ground for a moment. The cub survives thanks to its light weight. Its small body causes it to be pushed away instead of taking the impact directly. It is not pinned to the ground and quickly retreats out of danger. The buffalo's counterattack ends as soon as distance is created. In nature, small mistakes can lead to big consequences. A moment of distraction is enough to cause serious injury. Survival depends not only on strength, but also on the ability to recognize danger at the right time. Through each encounter, the lion's strength never diminishes, but it is constantly challenged by the reflexes and defensive strategies of its opponent. Every approach carries the potential for a reversal in just a few short seconds. On the savanna, victory doesn't belong to the one who attacks first, but to the one who best controls the decisive moment. And sometimes, retreating at the right time is also a form of survival.